now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled Rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben.
on Spoiled Rotten. And today, we are spoiling the second half of Peacemaker Season 2. So that's episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. We've finally seen it all. We
That's
did
right.
it.
We
made
did
it to the end. Yeah, I think we initially were like, yeah, let's do the first 5, cut it there, and then do the last 3. And I feel like after watching the whole thing, that might have went well. It does feel like the last 3 episodes are just a different show.
Yeah. Unfortunately, hindsight is always 2020, right? It's
fine.
It is what it is, but we live and we learn.
But I will say, I understand that it's better to have shows go week to week, not because it makes people talk about it more, but it makes sure that writers can get paid more and
Yes.
paid for a longer period of time. But this show is not a week to week show.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Watching the whole thing, my big thing is always like I like to have a couple of episodes already in the books so that I can watch like a few episodes, like 3 episodes at a time and all that kind of stuff, just because I get into the groove a little bit more. And after I finished watching the whole thing, I'm like, yeah, if this was a full season dump, it probably might have been a little bit more effective.
Yeah, we will get into the episodes one
Yep.
by one, but I do feel like, having seen some people talk about it and cover it week to week, that the sentiment probably would have been better if people could sit with it as a full thing, as
Sure.
opposed to what I've said about many of these superhero things, is have that week to theorize about what what cameo is going to happen or something.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's how I feel about it going into it,
Mhm.
or going into this episode.
Mhm.
That I wish it was all out at once.
Yeah.
But here we are.
And I will say, from our first episode of covering the first 4 episodes, you were absolutely right. Vigilante's thing this season is he's gonna pretend to know about stuff and completely get it wrong every single time. And I like that you called that right on the money. It was a bit that didn't get old for me at all.
It was funny, but I do think also that when I was hoping to have more of him, they actually followed through on that.
Yes.
I will also say up front, they followed through on the Adebayo being able to convince people to do things.
Yep.
Mostly just Vigilante. But I say that as in, I think she has an amazing moment with Peacemaker at the end. But I think in terms of what I liked about her character in the first season, which is that she's got this, like, I don't know if she's actively doing it, but she does have a way of talking people into things.
Yes.
And I feel confident saying that because Amanda Waller in the first season is like, you have a special talent, you should be using it, and that's why she's put into that situation in the first place.
Yep.
So I'm glad that came back for one scene this season. But yeah, I appreciated that some of my complaints in the first half were addressed.
Yeah. I kind of figured that they would be, just largely because it is James Gunn. He's got a great way of wrapping things up. The one thing that really didn't get addressed was, of course, the whole what's his face, Michael Rooker's character.
Red Sight and Wild.
Yeah. It was just like, okay, cool. He met a suiting end and all that kind of stuff, but it was never explained why. It's like, hey, why did you cast this guy? There was supposed to be someone else. Oh, is it?
It is not in the show, but it is
explained.
Oh,
okay.
I see. Podcast. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, episode 5. I don't remember the names. I don't care. Episode
That's okay.
5 is it starts off with a flashback. We see Rick Flag Jr.'s funeral.
Yep.
And we see Rick Flag Sr. working Harcourt for information. He's pretty big on like, hey, like they won't tell me who did it. And she's pretty much like, Amanda Waller, that was her call. And he's
Yep.
like, no. I need to know like who did it.
Who pulled the trigger? Yeah.
Which
So to speak.
I understand. I've
Yep.
seen some people that I enjoy following, specifically this person Joker on TikTok, saying, "Why do you have all this smoke for Peacemaker but not Amanda Waller?" And I'm like, I just feel like I would want to address the person who actually killed my son,
Sure.
because I think this plays into the big thing of this season, which is people listening to other people instead of listening to their heart. So like,
Yep.
if someone tells you to do something you know is wrong, but you still do it, you should still get the smoke for that.
Yep. Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh no, Amanda Waller told me to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had something very, very similar about that called the Treaty of Versailles.
So yeah, I get that person on TikTok is mostly doing a bit.
Yeah.
But I do think that I've seen far too many people, not just Joker, say things where I'm like, I don't feel like we're watching the same thing, or I don't feel like what you're saying means what you think it means.
Sure. I was more along the lines of, okay, here are some parallels that are being drawn in the sense where Rick Flag is going after Peacemaker because he can't go after a Waller. The same way that Harcourt's the one that gets blacklisted, but not Adebayo because of that the structure that protects them and all that kind of stuff. To be like, if you go after Adebayo, you're actually going after Waller and all this kind of stuff. So it's like all the blowback and the privilege that comes with these systematic structures. That's what I was kind of thinking they were going with it. There was some similarities there, for sure, but I don't think that it was one of those things where it landed quite so well with everyone.
No, I don't think that's what I'm saying. I think because it was week to week and everyone had their big ideas of what was going to happen,
Sure.
that a lot of what I saw didn't land for people. And I don't mean that makes them dumb. I'm just saying I can see where it fell apart for people.
Yes.
Not just in how it was released.
Yep.
But how it was released didn't help.
I would agree with that.
So yeah, then yeah, Peacemaker shows up and he's kind of just like, "Hey man, the boat thing."
Yeah.
I should say he shows up to the meeting that we left off at on episode 4, where she texted him. We find out copacetic does mean don't show up.
Show up, yeah.
Like, it's a very clearly established thing for them anyway. I was like, was that in the first season? I don't remember, but it doesn't matter because the show in this episode makes it clear. This is something they both agreed on.
Yeah.
That was their code. He shows up anyway. I did think like, oh, he's doing a good job of like protecting himself here because they can't shoot these kids, they can't shoot this person.
Yep.
I was like, good for you, but I do agree with Harcourt of like, you're not getting out of this. Like, sure, you got to me, but you can't leave now.
Yeah.
And she was right because Bordeaux was going to shoot him dead, and this is the reveal for us that Bordeaux is a cyborg.
Yep.
Or whatever. Like, and maybe that's being too dismissive. She has robotic parts in her because she was crushed in a plane crash.
Yeah. It's tough to use the word cyborg because of the other character that it references within the DCU, but for all intents and purposes, a cyborg is the thing and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, she is a metahuman in that regard.
Which I always thought metahuman meant like super powered, but I guess this does mean just if you're enhanced in any way, whether it be through magic, special or injection, or robotics.
Yeah, it's a umbrella term that they're just like, hey, you're not human or have superhuman abilities, so therefore you're under this umbrella.
This show taught me that because like I'm not even saying it's a new thing. I just always assumed when I heard metahuman that it was you gotta be like let's say Vixen or something where you have a special ability that enhances you above human thing. But I guess it makes sense that you could be a cyborg as well.
Yeah,
not the character cyborg, a cyborg.
Yes.
Yeah, I like this section because they take him in because, as I said, Bordeaux was going to shoot him, but Harcourt makes the right choice and knocks him out.
Mhm.
Um, which does go along with Rick Flag Senior being like, "No, I knew she would do this. This is perfect. This is everything I wanted."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he gets to beat up Peacemaker in the station.
Yep.
Whatever, they're in Argus. I shouldn't make it seem like he's actually in a police station.
Sure.
They're in Argus. He's gonna beat up Peacemaker. So Harcourt forces I will say Economos now. I know last episode I said he says Economist, but I think that's just a Steve Agee thing because
Yeah.
literally everyone else calls him Economos.
Yeah.
Yeah. She forces Economos to put him in the system and at least flag that they took Peacemaker in. I like that Flurry at one point goes, "Hey man, it's good that you did that." I do think this was also a hint at troubles to come, which is that's a setup for his final scenes in episode 8, but they did not put any effort into leading us along his path of moving away from Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah.
I feel like Bordeaux, they do it all in one episode, but at least I can be like, yeah, whatever, man. I get it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a part of this. The Flurry thing, I'm like, I know because I listened to the podcast that he's got an arc, but I was like, you didn't really put effort into that arc.
Yeah, it's hard to because the show reminds us that he's, in his words, famously a pussy. And
I mean Flurry, not
oh Flurry. Oh, no, I thought we were
the show 100% gives you the arc of Economos.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh,
They're
I see.
Constantly reminding you how scared he is to do things, and then I feel like Adebayo lands that plane in her last speech in episode 8 of what that means, that we've seen how scared he is of everything and the things he ends up doing throughout the show. But no, I think the Flurry thing of just like, I think it's also important that it's the two major people of color on Rick Flag's team that are like, I can't hang with this. As in Bordeaux and Flurry, and obviously Judo Master, but I feel like he was already out for like just better reasons than just like, hey, I guess I'm not helping.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that they could have done a bit better of guiding us through these arcs, because I do believe everyone goes on an arc and it ties into the main thing that this whole season was about, even though I do feel it's two different shows, that those two shows still were talking about the same thing.
Yes.
We just didn't have the pacing, or at least the structure, to get across all of these things successfully.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. We also, this is not that important, but it is funny that Adebayo gets a call thinking that it's someone looking for her to do work, and it's someone who's looking for a sex worker. And she's like, yes, we do Greek. And I like how matter-of-factly Vigilante's just like, no, I don't know what that means in like spy work, but if you're talking about sex work, you're talking about butt fucking.
Yeah, that's anal. That's code for anal. And that scene was so funny to me because I'm like, I know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm with the lingo and all that kind of stuff.
I knew it, and I was just like, oh, she doesn't know. And I was like, I hope, and then he did. I was like, I really hope Vigilante knows.
Oh, I knew he was going to be like, oh, yeah, no, you were having an escort conversation. That's an escort conversation, and he was asking about butt sex. Hilarious. Vigilante's just so funny to me.
So yeah, on the topic of not giving us enough time with things, here's something that could have been cut to give us more time with the greater thing, which is the whole Red Saint Wild stuff.
Yes.
I don't think it means anything, especially if the big thing coming out of this is James Gunn being like, we're probably not doing any more Peacemaker, and Jennifer Holland being like, this is probably the last time I'm playing Harcourt. So like, I don't really get the whole Eagly's a prime eagle. I'm like, I don't care. What does that mean? It just doesn't change at all what he's doing.
I agree.
And I just didn't like Red Saint Wild as a character. So the reason he was cast was they had someone, as you said, they had someone. It wasn't working out. Same thing happened with Vigilante.
Yep.
The only issue is James Gunn didn't know if he wanted to kill him or not, and then he finally got to the point of like, okay, I will kill him, which
Sure.
means I've been talking to Michael Rooker about stepping in, but I want him to do something else in the DCU, so I don't want you to play Red Saint Wild if Red Saint Wild is going to stay alive.
Uh-huh.
And so once he was like, okay, I'm going to kill him, Michael Rooker can be this character, because then he could still be someone else, because this character's dead and gone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, sure, but I just don't see the point of this.
Yeah,
character.
I just don't see the point of the character. It adds nothing to the show.
I think
I
he
like
had
the
fun
fact,
with it.
yes, he absolutely did. And I like at some point, I think it was Economos that said this, is like, what, you're gonna be Captain Cultural Appropriation? Which to me, I'm like, that line was good, but that doesn't justify the character actually being a part of this, especially because it's just one of those things where I'm like, I thought the bird blindness thing was going to go on a little bit longer, and obviously the
Yeah, I
feet
feel like that
didn't.
doesn't come up again.
It doesn't come up again, which bothers me because I loved the bird blindness thing. So silly.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. Yeah, so you know, we have this whole run of Eagly having his own supervillain.
Sure.
And he poisons a rat or something. He poisons a rodent. I don't remember what kind of rodent it is. A fox eats it instead. So Eagly's like, got you. I'm on to you. Which I did like in the moment, but I was just like, this is a lot of time being spent on something that's not going to factor into anything later.
Yeah. This is it. That was a question to me. I'm like, why are we spending time on this right now, especially when we meet the characters and all that kind of stuff? I'm just like, this didn't add anything to it. And I was thinking that there was going to be something to it, and I don't know what it adds to the show.
No, it adds.
That's why I fully
anyway.
agree. Yeah, I fully agree. I'm like, yeah, this could have been
in the
cut.
moment, but then people kept talking about how short the episodes were. So I'm like, yeah, I guess they really are short.
Sure.
And so I always go back to the Kevin Smith thing of like, you mean you only get so many minutes to tell your story? Do you really want to waste them doing this, or like, is it worth it? And I don't think even Kevin Smith adheres to that, but it is something that I think about when I'm watching something, especially from someone who I respect in terms of writing and being able to thread a needle,
right?
Like James Gunn.
Sure.
I was just like, I don't know, this feels, we were already out on how insensitive culturally, racially, all that stuff he was, that I was just like, this didn't feel like it needed to happen.
I would agree with you on that. It was definitely one of the more questionable choices of this season, and I'm just like, okay, moving on. Glad that wrapped up. Was it this episode or the next one? But either way, I'm just like, I'm glad that
he dies
it's this
in
one.
this.
He dies this
all
one.
the Eagles come together, and he repents at the end.
Yeah.
And says, I'm sorry, but doesn't matter. He's gonna die.
Yep.
Then Peacemaker is released because they can't keep him anymore now that he's actually on the books.
Yep.
He goes to the cabin, and I didn't see it this way at first, but I'm trying to credit people where I'm getting ideas from. I feel like her name is Nikki Marina, but it could be Nick Marina. NICQUE. Marina. You can find her on Threads or TikTok with that name.
Right.
She's very big into superhero stories, comic book stories. And she was talking about like, this is obviously on the eve of everyone having their thoughts confirmed on the other dimension being a Nazi place. She's like, everyone's talking about that, but I feel like we're not talking about this suicide note here. This is a suicide note. And I liked that layer of it, that he was essentially killing himself in this world and trying to go to a place where he thought he'd have a better life, or things would be easier. So yeah, I appreciated her adding that thought to my head.
That's fair. Yeah. Because it did close off a couple of different threads for sure, and like you said, this is, I think, what you mean by the turning point of, oh, now we're in a different show, when he does that suicide note goodbye thing. Not that he's about to contemplate. It's just like, hey, goodbye forever. I'm going here for all intents and purposes. I'm dead to you people, kind of deal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The so yeah, he does that. He goes through with Eagly. He doesn't abandon Eagly.
Hmm.
But Judo Master goes in, and I just remember thinking like, well, Judo Master's going to die right away. Obviously,
That's what I was thinking.
I'm glad the following episodes disabuse me of that. But I was like,
Hmm.
I don't even really want Judo Master to win. I find him to be a very funny character, and I want him to stick around. But I'm like, oh no, don't go in there. Again, before I knew for sure what was going on, but I was like, no, don't go in there. This is going to be terrible for you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he went in. But yeah, the that's how episode 5 ends, with him going in. But I did like that it was the first episode of having Vigilante actually show feelings and
Yes.
emotions,
Hmm.
crying that his best friend was leaving. And
Yep.
I know they're not best friends, but his, I guess, as the 8th episode confirms, his brother figure.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it just matters that Vigilante sees Peacemaker that way. I mean, obviously Peacemaker
Mm-hmm.
doesn't see him that way. Otherwise, he would have been like, "Hey,
Well, he
let's
doesn't
let's
see him
do
as a
this
best friend, but
together."
he did acknowledge, I think he just wants a brother, which
Yep.
is, I feel like he didn't treat him like a good brother, but he treated him like a brother, kind of. Like, yeah, you can
I
just
would
tag
agree.
along. You can just tag
Yeah,
along. I don't care.
you're just the annoying little guy.
Yeah.
Let's okay, whatever kind of deal. Yeah, 100%.
But no, didn't treat him like a friend. That's for certain. But I
Mhm.
think he understood what Vigilante actually wanted out of that situation.
Yes, yes, he does have that level of self-awareness for sure, which is kind of cool.
So yeah, that's the end of episode 5. Episode 6, uh, the 11th Street kids use Vigilante's home to actually make their way into the other dimension.
Yep.
I love everything to do with him and his mom. Just how mean he is to his mom.
He's so mean.
But then also the reveal of how mean he is to Harcourt behind her back, of like the mom. I just love how he's like, shut up, please, shut the fuck up, shut up. And the mom's just like, I don't think he should have dumped you because you're a slut. That's not nice. And
Yes.
him being like, she must have had you confused with my other girlfriend. She's like, yeah. He's like, well, I gotta lie so that I can do my superhero stuff. She's like, about me being a slut. He's like, yeah, it's got to be based in some kind of truth. And I'm like, shit.
Yep. Yep.
I don't even know what he's basing that off of.
I don't think well, I mean, he's just projecting at that point.
He's
He's
being
like,
mean.
he's being so mean.
But it was just like, I don't even think the show has ever pretended like Harcourt sleeps around. Like, this is, that she was with Rick Flag Jr.
Yep.
And then the show even confirms that she didn't actually sleep with Peacemaker. So you are just kind of like, what? Why is he? Other than maybe he's trying to be mean to Harcourt after, in the wake of Peacemaker's letter where he calls her the C word.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like, oh, cool, you got an insecure guy that's gonna lie about this and then project hate as a defense mechanism to be like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't want you in the first place, kind of deal. But obviously, no, he did. He's very much attracted to her and tells his story to his mom.
I guess so. I did kind of agree with, again, going off of actually thinking that Peacemaker knows Vigilante. I didn't get the sense he was that into that.
No,
I didn't
but
get the sense he was like into coupling and relationships.
I don't think so, but it's just one of those things where he's like, maybe he's just lying to up his own aura, as the kids say.
I think he wants his parents to think he's into that, but I didn't get the sense he was actually. And he's like, yeah, Harcourt is in proximity. I feel like he does respect Adebayo to the extent he can respect somebody.
Yep.
So he wouldn't use her, but it's like, so then it's Harcourt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could be right. Maybe he is into her. We'll never know because I don't think the show's coming back.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope James Gunn's wrong then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where they introduce the drug money and the actual drugs that will bail them out in the last episode. But I do like how Adebayo was just like, you asked me for money the other day.
Yeah,
Why do you? And he's just like, you can't use this. This is blood money.
this is
And
blood
so then as soon
money.
as he turns his back, they all do it. Like I like that everyone was down to take the money.
Yeah,
No one was like, well, he's right. Everyone's like, you're an idiot. Okay.
yeah, you're just a dummy. But yeah, I like his reasoning though. It's like I'm not gonna give it to the cops. What are they're gonna do whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's a good
Oh,
call there.
this season, more than one person was like, hey, no, fuck the cops.
Yes, and I love that for sure. I love that.
Yeah.
So I liked his reasoning of why it was hoarded and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
like,
it's
I can't
absolutely
give it to the police, and
yes.
I don't want it out there to
On the
circulate.
streets and all that kind of stuff. And Denny's is like, why don't you flush it? It's like, I'm not gonna
For all
contribute
the
to the cocaine crocodiles. He's the most ridiculous character, and I'm just like, it works so well within everything, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. But it's really really legitimately funny because like the amount of money that's just sitting there is it's insane. It's like Breaking Bad.
It's like life-changing money.
Oh,
Obviously,
100%. And the
Um,
fact that he thinks he's broke is hilarious.
Yeah. So then they go to the other side. I think this was the first instance where I was like, oh yeah, this is probably, whether people will admit it or not, where the first issue came, which is, I think, major issue, which is you have a week and they know like, oh, they're gonna go to the other dimension, but they're gonna have to try all these different things, and that's where we're gonna get all these cameos, which I've seen multiple people say. I didn't just see one thing, and I was just like, I feel like it's a pretty straightforward thing. Like, they're gonna just know where to go, which they did. But like I was like, oh, I didn't really think there was gonna be a bunch of cameos. It just felt like they're just gonna go where they need to go.
I mean, people could want what they want, but to me, I'm like, no, it makes sense that they knew exactly which door because because of how
he says this is what Peacemaker said to look for.
Exactly to describe it as like, oh, there's other Peacemaker helmets and all that kind of stuff, and we just got to look for that door. So I'm like, why would they keep trying different doors? And later on in the season, they reveal why you don't try different doors and you look for the right one.
I mean, I just think that like if this all came out at once, you wouldn't have that week to get your hopes up about something like that. You'd just be like, oh, that's what happened, and it wouldn't feel as much of a letdown because you wouldn't have. I mean, you could watch it week to week and build it up in your head, but if you knew it was all out at the same time, you might just watch till the next episode to see if you were right and be like, oh, I guess that's not what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But we do get a cameo in this. Episode.
You get a big cameo in this,
and it's a big one. It's a big one. I was so happy about this cameo. I was blown away. I was like, no friggin' way.
But before they get to that, we see that Harcourt. The one thing I do agree with everyone who's kind of talked about this was like, why are they just like walking into this house like they wouldn't get in trouble? Like they just walk into like, oh, look at this. I'm like, shut up. You're like in someone else's house right now. Be quiet. Even without the like fear of them being Nazis, I'm just like, you should just not stroll in there like it's all okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I'm like, hey, you're still in America. This world's America, and you have the right to self-defense and all that kind of stuff. And you're in a freaking, you're not a trio of superheroes. You're in trouble, right? It was ridiculous to me for sure.
I was like, relax. But anyway, Keith comes back, and I do like how awkward it is. I was in there taking a huge dump, and the snow globe thing was funny to me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she goes off with Keith to Argus, and Vigilante is just so convinced he needs to go find his doppelganger, or I know that's not the right term, but that's what I'm going to say because I'm just in my head to say.
I mean, that's fair.
His version of like who he is in this universe is who he's looking for, and I'm just like, I don't even know what the upshot of that is, especially after your best friend told you it's not nice to meet who you really are.
Yeah, I just found it hilarious of like all the different ways. Yes, absolutely.
But it was just like, I don't get why he's so into this idea.
Neither do I.
The person he looks up to already told him it's bad.
Yeah, but I just like how he was like trying to make the stupidest excuses to Adebayo to be like, no, you should stay here. And he's like, no, but I really think. And I'm like, this is the silliest thing. And I'm like, okay, hilarious, whatever. But it does give us a big reveal later on.
Yeah. So then at Argus, Harcourt's.
In Nazi Argus.
Well, yeah, I've already established they're in the other universe.
Yeah,
She's detained because when they set up the portal, we forgot to mention that everything blew up and the coke just went all over them. So
that's right.
Actively is like, there's coke here. Just get her.
Yeah.
Which I found like, oh, that's a good way to pay off the big coke explosion.
Yes, because otherwise I'm just like, did they really just mess up wardrobe and then transfer
which they
through
said
the
was
portal?
very hard to do because you have to like keep doing it every scene, and it was getting in their lungs and stuff. Obviously, it's not real coke, but still, it's just a substance clogging up their lungs.
Sure, yeah, it's still not good to breathe in powders.
Yeah,
no matter what it is. But
Vigilante does find himself, and it's hilarious.
Yes,
I think everyone. I did think like, oh yeah, like what if this Vigilante is just effective? I guess Vigilante is effective when he puts his mind to killing people.
Yes,
but this one is just as goofy as he is, and I like that the only difference for them is that he hates Peacemaker. The Earth 2, the Nazi Earth one, hates Peacemaker for being a Nazi.
Yep.
Which we'll talk about at the end of episode 7. But I saw a big complaint, not about the specifics of Vigilante, but the idea that this is the Nazi planet. Yeah, I like that. I did see people being like, how could this be? Because they said Spider-Man meme, and I'm like, yeah, but also in that episode they said Mick Jagger was part of the Beatles. So like, it doesn't mean that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko made Spider-Man. Like that could be something different. Like also Stan Lee very famously tried to hide that he was Jewish. Like I feel like people forget that part of it too.
They conveniently forget.
Yeah, like that is part of the superhero thing of having to hide who you really are.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, anyway, I just think that that's not a gotcha moment of like, wait a minute, how could he know about Spider? How could it be as popular if it was made by 2 Jewish guys? I'm like, well, one, they were hiding that they were like, his name isn't actually Stan Lee. There's no reason to change that if you're not trying to hide something. And also, it could just be that Stan Lee didn't invent Spider-Man in this universe, but he's still popular.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I like the one line where it's like, "Oh, my dad's not gay in this universe."
Everything about him being happy about the changes was great, and then they do the "oh, my dad's not gay" thing, and I'm like, this is really funny because before it was just like, there's squirrels here, or like, oh, they put an H at the end of Cheerios, and then like all of these stupid things, and then he's like, and my dad's not gay is the same response as all those other things.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the idea that the dad just knows not to
out himself,
say he's gay.
Yeah, to be like, oh, I'm gonna get killed by these Nazi rules and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, he could not be gay, but I also like the idea that like, I mean, you don't know that he's not gay just because he's sitting on a couch with a woman.
Correct. Yeah.
Then we get to the big cameo. Lex Luthor is here.
Yeah, baby. I was knocked off my socks. It was great.
Yeah, you liked it. I was happy that you liked it.
You were like, I was expecting this, and I'm like, I wasn't. I was very much surprised. So
I don't even. Yeah, but I don't think that's why I didn't. Like, it's just, even if it was just him, I'd be like, I just want someone else. I don't even think anyone else makes sense. I just would have wanted more of an expansion. Like somebody new and be like, oh shit, this is who they cast for this person.
Sure.
I think that's what I would have wanted. And I'm saying I understand that doesn't make any sense. This is the point of having a shared universe. You're showing that you can have the big movie stars show up on the TV show and the people that were like, that's the point. This is the cameo you would do.
Yeah.
But I was just like, and I'm not saying like I wish he saw Batman or something. It's just like what cool supervillain could he go see in Belle Reve? And then I was like, yeah, I just saw this guy this summer. All right.
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, because I was just thinking it'd be more along the lines of a phone call or something like that,
Hmm.
and like you have a voice actor like pretending to be Lex, but no, you got full on Lex, and it was a great scene. I really, really enjoyed it because I love Nicholas Hoult.
No, it was great. I think that it was solid. I just can't help that I wanted someone else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was definitely more wowed by it than you were for sure, as per our text chain.
Yeah.
But and I appreciate the fact that you're like you knew that was coming. You didn't say anything about it or at all, and I was just
No.
like, my God,
I
there's
just wanted
Nicholas
you to
Hoult in
enjoy the
this.
show.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Uh, yeah. So the deal, we don't have the details on it, but we know that he made a deal with Lex Luthor.
Correct.
And yeah, Rick Flag sucks.
Yeah, he's a
This is another great scene, which is Peacemaker and Harcourt actually discuss their feelings in a way that feels very natural for them.
Mhm.
Like the whole like, I know you know that I don't hate you, or like, oh yeah, I know you don't hate me. All that stuff without saying just the actual things, but just
Yeah,
talking about what they know or what they don't know. I'm like, that's nice. Um, and I
yeah,
do like where
because
Harcourt gets with this of just like, I I'm a mess. I'm not prepared to be in a relationship.
yeah,
Getting rid of the idea that he killed her. I guess she even says he's not really my boyfriend. Like I was sleeping with him, but he was a friend.
yeah,
So it's not like I do think she would feel some way about that, but it doesn't feel as vitriolic as it once was. And I feel like
mhm,
that's because of over time. I don't feel like they just forgot about that element. I just
mhm,
feel like, yeah, she's developed feelings for him, and the anger over him killing Rick Flag Jr. obviously doesn't outweigh how he makes her feel.
right, right.
But I liked that she was honest in that sense of like, I can't really give into this because I'm a mess and I don't want to drag you into that, as how I took it.
Sure.
And with Peacemaker being like, I don't care, but I do like that she then is like, so are you coming back or not? And I like that was the impasse that it came
Hmm.
to, of like, I will if you say you love me. And she's like, that's stupid. You should just come back. And I like that when as soon as they get there, she's also like, how could he even want to be here? This is stupid. He should be back where we are and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
just like that this universe didn't sit well with her. One, because she's like, he chose this over us, but two, she's like, I just don't like it here. Like
Yeah.
she is looking around more at everybody before the big reveal.
Yep.
I appreciated that she just did not like that place.
Yes, very, very much so. She was cued in on it. She was like, and I really, really like that it was like really focusing on like the people passing by and then
Mm-hmm.
pushing into her face and all that kind of stuff. It was definitely a great, great, great way. And you and I are very much already on the scent
Yeah,
about
I feel
what
like
this
she was
world
doing what
is.
we were doing.
Exactly. And it's just like it's one of those things where it's just like she was a lot more aware about it and more attentive and all that kind of stuff. And if I'm not, and I really, really like the fact that I think this episode name was Ignorance is Chris.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and because it's so good because of how ignorant Peacemaker is towards everything that's going on. And then the next episode, you're just like, oh yeah, that's a really big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because right off the bat, she's like, you didn't notice this?
Um, yeah. So they have that discussion. They make their way out.
Mhm.
She obviously tested negative for drugs in her actual blood, so
Yep.
they let her out.
Mhm.
Um, then Adebayo, I was so annoyed with her in this episode. She's so like, oh, nothing's problem. And the chick, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm like, please don't. Just please
Yeah.
do not go for a walk.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even be here. One, but two, going outside is the worst.
Yeah.
And then she finds out, but quick, that she shouldn't have. I know some
Yeah.
people are like, why wouldn't she notice? But I do believe that she'd just be like, other than her black wife, it doesn't really look like she's around black people, so she would just be like, I'm just used to being in predominantly white places.
Yep.
Um, I'm also used to that. So it's just like, yeah, I would still feel uncomfortable. I would never be like her, like, oh, I'm just gonna go for a walk. Even
Mhm.
if I knew I was on my earth, I'd still be like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go for a walk in this predominantly white neighborhood by myself. That's
Yeah.
okay. Um, but I think that speaks to, as we said, this season she's really not paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah. And it also, I personally think it might speak to the level of protection she has around her by being Waller's daughter and all
Yeah.
that kind of
Oh yeah.
stuff, and having a level of privilege to be able to just walk through and have that comfort and just be like, especially in her own world, like out as a lesbian and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, the Waller's child, and there's a level of protection around her that other people don't have. So that did make sense to me. I was just for my sake, I was like, no, 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 they're Nazis.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. And she did.
And then so the first woman is that drives by her is like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
And then
just like
Keith drives by
staring.
her. And I was like, fuck me. Like one thing David Denham, I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. You know what I'm talking about, Roy from The
Yep.
Office knows how to do is all of a sudden get very scary.
Yes.
That guy, like, I'm sure that's not why he got the role, but like I was like, he will be able to turn on a dime. Like,
Yeah.
like there's like 2 or 3 moments from The Office that I can think of where I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, like that guy can get scary real quick. And him jumping out of the car and saying one got out, a black, I was just like, holy fuck, like
Yeah.
yeah, man, this is happening. And then to end the episode with her being chased by so many people over a hill, I was just like, why did you get out of the house? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god! I didn't know what was gonna happen next. In that sense, the week to wait was good because I'm just like, fuck, like I'm really worried
Yes.
for her.
Yes.
How's she gonna get out of this? But yeah, that's episode 6.
Yep.
Then we get into episode 7. Harcourt and Peacemaker escape Argus. After the big Hitler mural reveal.
Yeah, it's that it's like what you didn't notice the swastikas on the flags, the Mein Kampf on every single table, and
Yeah,
even the Hitler mural. And then Peacemaker's like, yeah, really? How did I not notice that?
yeah. I think I did see some people being like, that obviously supposed to mean he doesn't get the big picture, but how could he pick up on all these other things? And I'm like, because he doesn't care about that stuff. He's very clearly someone who cares about the people he loves, so he's not looking at the other shit. Like
Yeah.
that's his blind spot. I feel like that's when people do Arthur Conan Doyle, I guess, the Sherlock stories, like you can there's books where he doesn't know if the earth revolves around the sun or the sun revolves around the earth. Like he's like, because that doesn't mean anything to me, because that doesn't help me solve crimes. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care.
that's book one where he actually meets Watson and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And I love that in the sense where Sherlock is like, yeah, I'm gonna have to forget this right now, and he launches into his theory about how the brain works, which is,
Yeah.
it's like an attic. Like you only have a limited amount of space to keep stuff in, and that doesn't actually serve what I do, which is crime and all that kind of stuff for being a detective. And so therefore I'm going to spend the next hour forgetting this. And Watson's like, what? This is the most important discovery in all science. He's like, yeah, it doesn't serve me, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I just feel like that's, again, not a gotcha moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he doesn't care about that because he's where he thinks he needs to be.
Yeah,
And
it's
one of the big things this season of
Mhm.
not actually listening or paying attention.
Yes, and also like, hey, when you get what you want, you don't get what you need, and all this kind of stuff, right? It's and this is clearly, he wants that family, he wants that acceptance, he wants all these things, but what he needs is to actually get that from himself and from his friends and all that kind of stuff, which we eventually get to. But
Yeah.
it's very much like, hey, and I get it. I get it. They bring it up over and over and over again, the death of his brother, the guilt and the trauma with that, as well as like, hey, his dad's actually a good guy in this and not being a
Well, we'll get
complete
there.
dick.
We can't rush that.
No,
stuff.
I mean like in terms of how he's treating him instead of like in his own world and all that. I'm not rushing that part,
Yeah.
but he is treating him much, much better, because you have those scenes where all three of them are sitting around reminiscing, shooting the shit and being like, oh, I love you kids.
Yeah.
He's being a genuine father for all intents and purposes, and that's all I'm saying about that until we get to the next episode.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where I can see why he's got blinders on,
Yeah,
basically, to be like not seeing everything else he needs to see and only being like, oh, I'm loved here, but this is the payoff that you're living in Nazi America.
yeah. Well, and I think that but yeah, as I said, I'll wait until we get to the end of this
Mhm.
episode to talk about the big criticism I saw that didn't really in the moment make sense to me, and then after this season was done,
Sure.
especially didn't make sense to me.
Sure. Yep.
Um,
I would agree with that. I already know what you're talking about, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either, but hey, whatever.
Vigilante 2, I
Mhm.
guess I'm not calling him doppelganger here. Vigilante 2 has to let our vigilante know that the Nazis won,
Yep.
and I think I'll just explain it here. I think this is like I feel like there's been crumbs throughout of like, oh yeah, like Cheerios has an H at the end, or what I said about like there can still be a Beatles, but the roster is different.
Yep.
Um, it, those aren't just jokes. It's part of what James Gunn wanted to get at here, which is like there are some, let's say, cosmetic differences between these worlds, but
Yes.
like, what do you think the big difference between the Nazis winning and our current day thing is?
Mhm.
Like, there isn't a big, like, everyone's like, there has to be a big difference, and it's like, no,
There's
like he's
really
saying,
not.
like even in a world where like what you probably would notice first was just how they spell things a little bit different, or things aren't quite the same, like
Sure.
those minute details. You don't have to agree with that being a worthwhile thing to explore, but that's what he was exploring. And
Yes.
I do think that it's actually a lot more of an indictment than people are acknowledging.
Mhm.
It's not just that he's saying, oh, they're the same. He's saying, like, this is where you have to kind of wait for the Augie stuff. But like what he's saying is like, we live in a world right now where the president is sending the military into cities, being like, I don't like that city. Go
Yep.
send some military in there. They
Yep.
are rounding people up and pulling them out of homes and keeping them into they were doing that before this president,
Yep.
mind you. So I don't want to give this president all that credit, but like he's just way more blatant about it.
Yes.
Um, but so then what, so at that extent, what, to that point, what do you think the big difference would be between the Nazis winning and what's happening now? Because the Nazis are winning right now.
Yes.
And so yeah, I just didn't fully understand the whole why is it Nazis thing. It's like, because he's trying to show you that it's not that you're sitting in comfort being like, well, at least the Nazis didn't win, and it's like, but they did.
They
They
did.
are winning. They are
Yeah.
currently winning.
Yep.
And what are we doing about it?
Yep. It's wild to me because I'm just like that those are multiple points that he's trying to make. Gun,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like, okay, people just really don't see it because they may very well be the peacemaker in that, in the sense where it's like, yeah, I don't I'm there's ignorance around all these kind of things, but if you dig deeper into every one of those hints and all that kind of stuff, like you said, Mick Jagger being a part of the Beatles instead and all this kind of stuff, I'm just like, there's race stuff in there that not everyone's seeing
Mhm.
because that's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh, that's just a little bit weird, but I'm like, it's saying something much, much bigger than that. And there's a comfort that people are just like, oh, it's just surface level. I'm like, no, it really isn't just surface level. It
Yeah.
is much, much deeper. And the surface level stuff is meant to get you to distract and be like, oh, this is slightly different.
To
This is
be a
weird.
vigilante and be like, ha, it's funny
Exactly.
that, because then he's like, yeah, like this is just like when I have to beat up people who are tagging things. That's not your building to like spray paint on, and vigilante 2 has to be like,
Yeah, that's not the
no,
same
that's not the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, wow, you must live in a utopia because the Nazis didn't win where you come from, and he's like, and I don't think that's as big of a joke as people, let's say Nando V movies thinks it is.
Right.
I think that it's important, and what I do want to hold space for is people who say no, I saw that's what he was doing. I just don't think he did a good job of connecting all the dots.
Mm,
I will like
that's weird.
if that's just how it landed for you, that's fair. And
Yeah,
I'm also acknowledging that I don't think the season was structured in a way to fully have us sit with all of that.
sure.
Only because it's being explored in different ways.
Yeah.
Like I would say the up until episode, I guess, yeah, up until the last episode, you are dealing with this mystery around the Nazi stuff, but
Mhm.
then episode 8 isn't not engaging with that stuff. They just aren't with the Nazis anymore. But he's
Yeah.
still engaging with these ideas of paying attention and
Mhm.
looking within. Um, and what I always like to see, even though it seems very simple, of like you can't just do it on your own. You
Yes.
can't just be like, oh, like you're the super. It has to be everyone that's
Yep.
going to work together. So them being like, we're gonna whatever. I'll save that for episode 8. But yeah, I just feel like this show is trying to unpack these big ideas, maybe not
Yes.
that big ideas, but these very things that could feel obvious.
Mhm.
But I do think there are some people that didn't quite understand it, and I understand there could be people that are like, no, I got that, it just didn't connect properly.
Sure. Sure.
um but yeah, that's kind of my big thing was, sure, they kind of move on from the Nazi thing, but I don't think they move on from what the Nazi thing was trying to explore.
No, no, they did not.
uh so anyway, yeah, the the two vigilantes are like, oh shit, I love the way he says, he's like, I came here with someone who's technically black. Like, well, you don't know if she's black or not. Like, oh no, it's like the first thing I noticed. He's like, we have to go get her. You'll never see her again.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like that Judo Master saved her and
Yes.
killed all those racist people. I do not understand her choice to go into the pool. If I'm being honest.
That was 100%. I was like, what is happening with this pool thing? Because I'm like, you can't think that you're actually going to be faster at getting
So
away
yeah,
from
I
these
would say
people.
that this um, season as a whole has moments where I'm like, oh, you did that so that you could get here, instead of having it be a natural thing. Like, I
Yes.
don't get why vigilantes like, I have to go find myself, other than we want to see them interact with each other. So
Right.
that's how I'm gonna write it. And we want to see Judo Master kill a bunch of people in a pool, so we're gonna write it that she goes into a pool. And I get that some people were joking like, oh, well, at least they're not too racist to think she can't swim. But like,
Yeah.
I think that James Gunn wasn't thinking about that. I think he was just like, I need to get her in the pool so we can shock everybody.
Yeah, so we
And
can
it
get
doesn't
this crowd
really.
away from her, which is, I wish there was a thing where Judo Master was like, get in the water, and like there was communication there,
Yeah.
because at least I'm like, okay,
I'm like,
I
she's got
see how
such
this was
baggy
set up.
clothes on that just would slow you down so much.
Oh,
It does not.
100%.
It does. Like, I'm not. Like, I wasn't even entertaining the jokes about can black people swim. It was just, you're dressed in such a way that just does not make sense.
No, no one that fully dressed can effectively swim in the water. Like, I don't care what you're wearing and all that kind of stuff, but it's just like the decision for her to jump in the water made absolutely no sense. You're not hiding from anyone. They see you
Mm-hmm.
doing that. It's not like, oh, you have a big enough lead that if you jump in the water, they're not going to
Not gonna
see
see
you
you
and
go.
just
Yeah.
keep searching in the forest, for example, because there was woods there. But it's just like that literally didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And I was just like, the fuck is happening right now? Why did
Yeah,
she
it
get
just
into
didn't
the
make sense.
water? Yeah.
Again, as I talk about things where I understand how people might not be as happy with the season, I think that's
Yes.
part of it.
Yep.
That there seem to be very obvious choices made just to get to the end result, instead of having it
Yeah.
feel like you naturally built up to it.
I agree. Yeah.
Then we have Augie. I'm just using that name because I don't actually. It's Peacemaker's dad, but
Yeah.
Augie too calls off Keith and is like, "Hey, something's more important, because we forgot to mention that he had Economos tied up from episode 5 or
Correct.
6, I should
Yep.
say." And I like that during this discussion, Augie's kind of like, "No, I saw me from the other universe a while ago, and he looks so dark." This is an example of what I think is good writing of you, because you don't get we're not at the end yet, so you think him saying he looked dark, like he was from a terrible place, means that because he's a big Nazi, that he just thought someone who was not from a Nazi thing would be dark or whatever, like from a bad world. But I like that it was just like, this was someone who's not as evil as our Augie being like, no, that guy's like legitimate evil.
Oh yeah.
And more than that, I need you two to stop being like that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to promise me you can keep it together and not go that far evil. So yeah, I liked that. And they basically decide, yeah, we got to save whoever came through here so that they don't tell people about our shit.
Yeah.
So then the heroes get the benefit of these people being like, well, we can't. But I do like that Augie does have a point of being like, nah, I don't fuck with the cops either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because when that happened, and so there was that scene where like Harcourt and Peacemaker are on the Freedom bike or whatever it is, and they're leaving, and there's like these moments where it's like, oh, she's leaning in, she's, all this kind of stuff, there's comfort, there's romance here and all that, but I'm like, but there's still very much a police chase that's happening. And it just felt like a weird, why did you go there with all this kind of stuff, unless it's for the purpose of like, you need the big reveal of like, oh yeah, that Augie and Keith are gonna just show up and kill them all and all that kind of stuff, and take this into their own hands. It felt weird to me that it was just like, wait, so you're not running the way with intention, the way I would expect you to.
When I rewatched it, I didn't get that sense. I would actually disagree. I think the way it's staged, it is all set up for him to shoot those rockets off of that motorcycle and take out all those cops that have accumulated.
Sure.
It's just someone else did it before he could.
Right.
But I don't think that was running with no thing. I think I also know like how Jennifer Holland was thinking about it as Harcourt, of like, he's so busy planning what he's going to do that I feel comfortable enough to do these things, because I know he's not fully, she's wrong, but that's her character work of like, no, he's distracted right now, I can be as vulnerable as I want to be.
Right.
And I do think that it is staged that way, that he's also sneaking moments to be happy that she's holding on to him, but he is plotting something. Fair. And then Keith and Augie interrupt that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, just Keith and Augie show up, kill all the cops, and then go like, if you want to live, you got to come with me.
Yeah, classic Terminator stuff from a Terminator guy.
And I love it.
Yeah. Then we see Flag with
Bordeaux.
I don't remember the guy's name. The glasses guy from the Superman movie. Like episode 8, the full team shows up. Even like the McCoy woman that we liked from Superman and Lois, who was in Superman the movie, but we didn't. She didn't really feel. She at least gets stuff to do in this show, but that's episode 8. Yeah. This is just the first guy from that team.
Yeah.
Shows up and basically it's like, yeah, I found them. And I guess this is also a way of letting you know, like, this is secure. It's not going to create another Superman the movie moment.
Right.
He's like, no, like, they know what they're doing. Or, like, he doesn't say it that way, but he's basically like, no, this is actually secure. It's not going to cause a rift.
Yeah. They were saying stuff like, oh, we never could figure out how to stabilize it beyond a few hours and all that kind of stuff. And there was all these, like, made up things that was like, oh yeah, this is pseudoscience,
because it's an alien thing. Like, it's not like something that Lex thought of to do. It's like,
correct,
this is just alien technology, so it just works.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they know. They're just like, oh, it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got them. They're using it, so we know where they are now. So when they're back at the home, I like the layering in of how cowardly Economos is. Like, I wasn't here for the killing, and like, I could leave if I will leave without you if that is an option.
Yeah.
But I like how vulnerable Peacemaker is when they're like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I wanted to feel what it was like to have a family."
Yes.
So everything you were talking about earlier, that's why I wanted to keep it for this moment. But
Yes.
yeah, everything you were saying earlier about him having a chance to feel what it was like to have that,
Hmm.
um, without acknowledging, without realizing he had that back home with
Hmm.
people who actually know him and
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that moment, and at this point, Keith knows that he killed the other
Okay.
Peacemaker, and is
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I don't care. I don't care what I do." And they're slow teasing this whole thing with Augie, being like, "No, I believe him. He said he didn't mean to do it. I get it." And then Harcourt's like, "Yeah, but you're a Nazi." And I think again, this is the indictment of no,
Hmm.
he's not in the freedom fighters like Vigilante, but also they
Yes.
don't seem to actually be getting shit done. And I didn't see Augie fighting the freedom fighters. It was our Peacemaker, and Keith kind of comes in at the end, just being like, "Oh, my brother's fighting. I'll help him."
Yep.
So I don't even think you can use the thing of, well, he's actively working against them, but I do also think there's room for him to be what would be considered a liberal, of like,
Yes.
he's still feeding into the system, so he's not
Hmm.
helping, but he's not a Nazi, just the same way you wouldn't actively be able to call everyone a Nazi who doesn't like pick up arms to go kill a bunch of Nazis.
Right.
Um, but I do think that it is important to acknowledge that he is, even if you can't give him the moniker of anti-Nazi, he's not down with them.
Yes.
And he's saying he's picking the fights he knows he can win.
Hmm.
And I think that speaks to being like, yeah, you need a group of people to do that.
Hmm.
And more than a group, I would say. You need everyone to be on board with that.
Oh, 100%.
And so the difference being, yeah, he lives in a world where everyone's okay, openly okay with Nazis instead of, I mean, we're already at a part where everyone's openly, like the inauguration had people doing like Heil Hitler. So like, I
Oh,
guess
you mean that
that's,
Roman salute? No.
yeah, this is what I mean by like, people got on his case for invoking this, and I'm like, it wasn't just for that to be the be all and end all. It's to
Yep.
show us that like we're not, even if you went to a Nazi world, like what do you think is actually fundamentally different about what we experience today?
Yeah. Not a lot. Because
Uh,
the reality is, okay, sure, for all intents and purposes, the war and all that kind of stuff. But like people forget very conveniently that all the scientists were allowed to go to America and just be like, oh
It's
yeah, we're not gonna worry about what you did and all this kind of. You can still contribute to science, and I'm like, they still got those ideals because they're very much a part of the thing. That so it was just allowed to exist, just very much like after the Civil War and all that kind of stuff in America, where it's like, yeah, you just allowed the South to exist without any actual punishment and all that kind of stuff. You're like, yeah, come join us. You guys lost, but come join us and all that.
yeah,
It's the
or
idea of like they're letting the ideas continue on with everything. It's just like, oh, here's a little kind of for show victory, but we're just letting the ideas live on. And that's the world we currently, like you point out, live in. Is just like, yeah, the ideas have lived on from World War II, from the Civil War, from all the different things
these,
to be like, we're not stamping out white supremacy. We're
no,
just
we let
allowing
them
it to
gain back
kind
whatever
of
they had. It's to
exactly
me,
to
it's Captain
recuperate.
America, Winter Soldier, where
Yes.
all of a sudden they're like, actually we're Hydra,
Yep.
and we're in everything,
Yep.
and that's where we're at now. Where before they had to work in the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're just like,
No,
we
we're
got our
out.
guy in there, and before he got reelected, Canada had their fucking trucker convoy thing
Yep.
where it was run actively by white supremacists.
Yep.
And everyone was like, well, it was really fun. Like, we went and gave them cookies. They weren't saying anything racist. I
Yep.
know, you're white. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so I just think that I appreciate that this was a challenging thing. I know some people just dismissed it
Mhm.
offhand, but I watched, I think it's called Crazy Stupid Podcast.
Mhm.
I enjoyed watching them in real time try to like piece together how they actually feel about it, and coming somewhat to the
Mhm.
realization like, oh, I guess he's talking about us. Like that is,
He
there
is.
isn't a big difference. There is a difference in his mentality,
Yep.
but the way the world actually functions isn't that much different, which is brought up when Adebayo and Judo Master are talking together and stuff, but like, and
Sure.
Vigilante. But I think that people like Nando V Movies try to be like, those were jokes. And I'm like, not really, man. No.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not actually a joke.
Yeah. It's
He's trying to hammer it home.
yeah, it's so difficult. Of course, when you see people that you respect that review stuff and are in the same spaces to just fundamentally miss so hard with this kind of stuff, it sucks, but that's the world we live in, right? The world we live in is like, oh, you got to respect everyone's opinion. I'm like, why? There's
This is
people.
how we got here.
Yeah, it's that idea is like, but why? They're standing up for hate. Why do we have to respect that? Why do we have
Mhm.
to be like, oh, you have to honor this person because he stood for this? And I'm like, no, I don't have to do any of that shit. And then still to this day, like I'm seeing on whenever the few times I log on Facebook, I'm like, oh, there's still people debating whether or not Kirk was racist. And I'm like, what is the debate at this point in time? And I'm
That's
just like,
part of it, is
it's
to wear you down and make it so that like their ideas actually seem like they have merit, for the fact that you're actually going, not you
Mhm.
personally, but that
No, no, of course.
everyone who knows the right answer is going to treat it like it's something worth debating.
Yeah, it's they're just going to keep moving goalposts and frustrating and exhausting people and all that kind of stuff just to be like, we get it, you're an asshole. Just like shut up. Just stop. Just be an asshole. You don't have to advertise it and all this kind of stuff. And that's the world we live in now. It's where it's like it's safe to be an asshole and racist and vocally out there and be like, it's my freedom of speech. I'm like, freedom of speech does not protect hate speech. That's always been true. And
It
this is hate
also
speech.
protects you from the government, not from someone being like, fuck you for saying that.
Exactly. It's just like, okay, sure.
And you don't
We
have
still
that
get to
anymore,
think
by the
that
way.
you're an asshole. Yes,
Like,
absolutely. It's like you get
anyway,
to say whatever we want. We get to react however we want to.
no, but I'm saying like we live in a world where the government, and we don't even have to live in that country for it to affect us, like what we say, what we look at.
Oh, 100%.
We're not
Yeah.
protected anymore. So
No,
again, I
we're
just
not.
say like that this was obviously written before these very real things were happening, but
Yes.
like they're here. So
Yeah.
that makes me feel like there's merit in exploring this way.
Yeah.
Um because I do believe that this is probably not his strongest writing, but James Gunn is trying to, I feel like, decolonize his mind, and
Oh,
these are
absolutely.
things that he's trying to think about and work through, and it's nice
Mhm.
to see that in his art, while also acknowledging this isn't his strongest, for
Yes.
the reasons we keep bringing up.
Right.
Um, yeah. Then so yeah, Augie has that whole thing of like, oh, do you actually stomp out all the injustices in your world? And
Mhm.
I I know people think that's too much deflecting, but I'm just like, it, he is deflecting, but the greater point is that it can't be on one person.
Yes.
Everyone needs to be on the same page for this type
Hmm.
of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Then Vigilante bursts through the window and kills him very,
Yep.
very violently. It
Yes.
was like ridiculously violent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and this will start a spiral for Peacemaker,
Hmm.
because they try to separate them. Like, he's already dead, and he's like, I don't think he was a Nazi. I don't think he was a Nazi. Oh my god, which would be terrible, because obviously he's like, I killed my dad because he was straight up KKK.
Yep.
But
And then
this
to
guy,
see
who I
a
wanted
slightly
to
better
hang
version.
around, I
Yeah.
wanted to be with this guy, isn't that. Like,
Yeah.
I was right to be. Again, he's not right to kill someone's kid and then be like, and now I'm here. But
Yes.
if we're taking it from his point of view, he had the right father figure this time.
Correct. He was very, very much like, yeah, this guy is not actually that. And I do believe that there was a comment being made about like generations and how they can't move the needle nearly as much as younger generations can. And I think like the three revolutions that we've seen in Nepal, Paris, and all that kind of stuff, driven largely by Gen Z, I think is just a very on the nose type of thing where it's like when you get older, you just like you start to do what I don't know if there was a commentary on that from Augie Smith and all that being the father and the generations and all that,
I
but
think he was doing what he was saying to me was
mhm,
like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight the kaiju because everyone will agree that I should stop the kaiju from killing people. No
sure,
one's gonna agree with me that I should kill the Nazis because we actually live in a world where everyone's like, no, the Nazis are good. They won.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. Just because of how the cast skews age wise, I don't know if there's room to have that Gen Z thing. I think what
sure.
you're saying is valid. I just don't know if that's on James Gunn's mind.
Yeah, I don't think it is again because they must have created the show way before what happened in Nepal and Paris, in France, I should say, and I forget the other country. That's on me. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if that's kind of what they were going for, if it's or if it's just like because of the state of the world that I'm seeing that in what he's saying too. Very well could be more on me projecting onto that, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, he needs everyone to unanimously agree that killing the kaiju is a good thing and for him to act and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I don't.
quite a complex
I think it's complex. I
exploration.
think
Yeah,
that's the exact right word because I don't believe that James Gunn thinks that Augie's like the
good
paragon of a
guy.
good
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I just think it's important that he's not a Nazi for specifically Peacemaker's relation to him.
Yes, and I think it's also important to be like, hey, if you're not a Nazi, you disagree with this kind of stuff. It's just like if you're one person, like you keep saying, what can you do as one person? You need everyone on your side and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
So,
and so then
mhm,
the fact that they live in a world where everyone agrees that the Nazis aren't the bad guys.
yep,
Obviously, when I say everyone, it's like the popular culture. They wouldn't feel weird about doing a Nazi salute at an inauguration.
correct.
Basically, they wouldn't have to call it a Roman salute.
Yep.
That's the difference. That's the reason you make it so obvious, but you still are trying to show that it's not that big of a change.
Yes.
Um, which plays into what James Gunn says he likes about multiversal stories, which
Mhm.
is there aren't these huge changes. It's just these minor things. But you think, as you said, you're drawn in by those minor changes until you realize what's really going on there, which is like,
Mhm.
oh, like I guess, yeah, we did let the Nazis win though
Yeah,
in our world.
we did because we let the idea survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. You can kill a person. You can't kill an idea. And there wasn't enough done, like I said, after the Civil War to actually stomp these ideas out because it was just allowed to exist. It was allowed to be like, okay, yeah, we'll take the L on this, but we'll regroup and we'll come back. We'll do this again.
Yeah. Okay. So that's episode 7. That's
Yep.
my diatribe on him abandoning the Nazi stuff now because
Mhm.
that's one way of highlighting what he's really getting at here.
Yes.
Episode 8, we start with a flashback to the night that Peacemaker and Harcourt went on the boat.
Yep.
I think that's nice. That's great.
I like that because I'm just like they gotta do the boat thing. They gotta show us what they were
Mhm.
actually talking about and all that. And I will
Um,
say one thing about the boat, all white people there too. So I was just like, hey, he's trying to make this commentary of like, hey, yeah, our world's not that very different.
I'll say this: it's predominantly white. It's not all white people, but it is
It's
predominantly
not?
white. Yeah,
Okay,
it is mostly white.
sure.
But when you consider who's performing in the last one,
Yeah.
and I hate to put it this way, there are a couple of specks of color in both crowds.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, you're right. It is mostly white.
Yeah, and in all fairness, rock in itself is predominantly white. That's how it's
Sure.
always been portrayed by the people that want to be like, oh, this is what rock is. And I'm like, are you forgetting about Hendrix? Are you forgetting about all these people that really are pivotal? Because that's the goalpost moving too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know exactly what they're doing. We've already said it though that they went
Mhm.
to see a rock show on a boat. But yeah, we don't know exactly what they're doing yet. Then it cuts to uh, Peacemaker. We see that he's constantly refusing to see his friends. They're always on the visitor list. They come every day or
Mhm.
pretty much every day, and he's like, no.
Mhm.
because of what he said at the end. I guess we never got to that point, which is we should go back to episode 7. That
Sure.
he is getting beat up by his brother, and the only time I was happy Eagly was around is Eagly comes and he's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
You can't do that to my boy." And I thought he was gonna just kill him, but then everyone starts coming in and like stabbing Keith, and Peacemaker is like, "You stop. You gotta
Yeah.
stop." He does a big guttural scream, but he's like, "No, we can't do this."
I loved that scream
I
because
didn't
especially
love What's Wrong with Us. I'll be honest.
I
I
get
like
that.
how complex it is, but I didn't love that.
Yes. I get that. However, I love the scream because there was a childishness in it, in the sense, not because it was kiddie, but it was just like, oh, he's reverted back to his childhood trauma.
Hmm.
And it shows that to you. And so that scream to me was like, that's a really nice touch by Cena to do it that way.
Hmm.
I do agree with you. It's like, what is wrong with us? I'm like, that's more on you right now.
Yeah,
And
I'm
being
glad he
like,
finally got to the wording of "this is me." This is.
yes.
I still don't think he's right about what he's saying, but
Oh, absolutely not.
I can appreciate what he's going through in the moment.
Yeah.
But I did think that kind of muddied the waters by having
Yeah.
having this be such a big portion of it.
Mhm.
Because it's what we're talking about, right? Like we're not allowing the idea to die. It's
Yes.
like no, we gotta. And it's important that it's Peacemaker doing that, and I like
Yes.
that for him. Like I think has to be part of his journey of being like, no, I killed my brother. I'm gonna save him this time, and
Mhm.
I couldn't save my dad this time. I'm gonna like, I understand that. I just think what's wrong with us. I'm like, no, they're doing the right thing.
They are.
This guy's a hateful person, and he's
Yes.
a superhero, meaning he is. And we already know, like when he's talking to Augie, when he's like, "Well, I thought she got out," and Augie seems genuinely surprised that that's something he engages in. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, this guy needs to go
Yeah.
because he is actively working to put people into concentration camps.
Yes.
Um. So yeah, I think that I appreciate the complexity of it. I
Yeah.
don't know if I have any notes to fix it. It was just like,
I don't.
I don't really like the "what's wrong with us" because
Yeah.
you're going through a you thing right now,
Yeah.
which he gets to eventually.
yes. So I like that it comes from him because it's a personal thing for him, but
Mhm.
everyone else sees it very, very clearly. And even when Vigilante was like, "Oh, I'm killing Augie and all that kind of stuff," his point was like, "But you are all tied up, and like it looked
Mhm.
like this scenario and all this kind of stuff, right?" And it's going through that, and I like before they cross through the gate to get to that dimension or whatever to get back to their own. Hardcore's like, nah, I gotta kill you. You're just gonna keep coming after us and all that kind of stuff. I'm
No,
like,
she says, "I can't have you coming after him." That's an
right,
important difference.
sure, yes,
I think what that shows is how well she knows Peacemaker. So
Mhm.
saying, "I can't have you coming after him" isn't even because you're going to try and kill him. It's because he's never going to let this go. As
Right,
long as you're alive, he will keep trying to keep you alive, and you will keep trying to do the wrong thing.
yep,
Um, so yeah, I think it is important that we know that she's like, "Can't have you coming after him," because
right,
that is I do like that distinction.
yeah, yeah, because it's an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, basically.
Yeah, and she doesn't get to kill him,
She does not,
so
which is
he's gonna
why
be
I'm
around.
like, yeah, maybe season 3, hopefully.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a Peacemaker show for this to continue somewhere
I
else,
agree.
right? Like
Yes.
I just think it's a shame that we won't be able to unpack some of the stuff in another season.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
It would be nice to do it in a season of television.
I agree.
But he's already said he already knows like what, as in James Gunn already knows what he's going to write and direct, and it's all within this section of it.
Sure.
In terms of movies, I just feel like it would have been nice to do this over a show, but
Yeah.
I think we're definitely setting up another supervillain.
Mhm.
Hey, back to episode 8. He does not want to go, and another sad thing about Eagly is me seeing how Eagly in a closet, just looking at a corner. I'm like, yikes! You got to
Yeah.
come back, Peacemaker, for Eagly alone.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, basically, Adebayo convinces. I'm skipping a lot here, but Adebayo convinces Vigilante to just use the money to bail him out.
Yeah.
It's silly now. It's like it's gotten to a terrible point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like that. And then I don't love this part, but it is important. It's undoubtedly important. This is
Mhm.
the flag, and now we've got the full like um Lex Luthor team basically working in Argus
Yeah.
and uh testing out all the doors so they can find Salvation, which is the place where they are going to keep metahumans, but really just anyone they disagree with.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. We are doing Nazi things in our world.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's not like we completely abandoned that idea. It is still here.
It's still very much
Um,
there.
we can see how not different this is.
Yeah.
And it will be even more out of sight than having it be where people know where the concentration camps are.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think this, I was just like, oh, I guess he's just a bad guy now. I feel like
Flag?
before they were playing Flag. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like Creature Commandos and Superman the movie. I know it's not called that, but the Superman movie
True.
where he wasn't played as specifically, but he was definitely by Superman on the wrong side of things when he
Yeah.
was like escorting Superman to jail.
Mhm.
But I'm like, oh, okay, he's just a bad guy, and I think that's because he's not listening to. But who knows how much of a good guy he was before the death of his son? But it does feel like the big thing for this season was not listening to yourself
Yep.
and having things go wrong.
Hmm.
Uh, and he's certainly listening to the Lex Luthor team a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's just very actively like, I'm with these guys now.
Yeah. And it's wild to be like in the glasses guy, whatever his name is, and all that kind of stuff. They're just doing lines of coke while they're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, see, this isn't about crime. This isn't about
It's a
that
power
kind of
trip,
stuff.
yeah.
It's a power trip. It absolutely is. And like the point I keep making all the time when people are like, "Oh, the war on drugs." I'm like, the war on drugs was never about drugs. It was about
No.
racism.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, "How could you say that?" I'm like, "Can you honestly tell me that you like Harvard has never been rated? There's so much drugs in Harvard Law School and all that kind of shit. Harvard's never been rated. Why? Why?" I'm like, if the war on drug was actually about drugs, then you would go into every place that there were drugs, not just places where it's people of color and low income situations and all that kind of stuff. It was just a veil to be like, let's attack these areas. That's it. Because Harvard should have like there's never been a raid on Harvard campuses. Tons of drugs on campuses in those kind of things. So I'm just like, yeah, it's never about drugs. It was a means of being like, oh yeah, we'll draw the lines like this. We'll word it like this. And you know, it's that's what they're doing here. That's on display is like we will tolerate this because we want this, which is we want to be able to get rid of people that we just don't agree with, that we don't want to understand, that we're scared of.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No notes.
Yeah. Then once the reveal of okay, we found Salvation, this is what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
One in very quick succession, we learned that Porto was sleeping with Rick Flag for a
Yep.
time because at one point, Economos is like, "Your boyfriend sucks," and she's like, "He's not my boyfriend." He's like, "He's not your boyfriend." I love just the genuine like, "What? He's
Yeah.
not." But yeah, she basically sits through his presentation to the people again, more people that were in the Superman movie.
Yep.
In the Pentagon, he does this presentation. He's like, "This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna take all the metahumans." I don't even think he forgot. He just doesn't care that
Doesn't
the
care.
woman he's sleeping with is a metahuman.
Yeah, he does not
And-
care.
And then he's kind of like, "Yeah, I'll see you later tonight," and she's like,
Maybe.
"Maybe." So that's the end of that, and she calls Harcourt, who has gone back to picking fights in bars.
Yep.
And they meet up, and after a bit of back and forth, she's basically like, you should meet Adebayo because she's got plans. And this is, I am skipping over stuff just for the length of this episode, but they basically come up with the idea of creating Checkmate, which is from the comics, and people can look into that. But the big thing being they don't want to be part of a broken system, or they don't want to be like Augie, being like, well, this is how you can make a change.
Yeah.
We have to actually create something that is outside of the system to take it down.
Yes, because there's always that old school, and I was guilty of that. It's like, oh, in order to change the system, you have to be a part of it and then slowly change it and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, no, you can just not support the system and just do your own thing with the foundations and all that kind of stuff and all that. And these systems will fall. They will crumble because it's founded on bullshit, basically, instead of what Checkmate is all about.
It's not sustainable. Yeah,
it's not sustainable. No.
I really like the scene where Adebayo breaks up with her wife properly.
Oh my god, I'm so glad we're talking about it. Yes, absolutely.
She
such a
finally is listening, and she's not pretending like everything's okay anymore. And I think this actually sets up her scene with Peacemaker very well, where she's like, we're not for each other. And I just like that they both were able to say what needed to be said, and there's going to be no well, I don't mean this forever, but for now there doesn't need to be any animosity or concern. It's just like, look, we're acknowledging what the actual reality here is. We want two separate things, and you shouldn't have to just come along with me on my espionage run. And I'm going to feel trapped and resentful if I go along with our initial pet store thing. So we're not for each other. That's what that means.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Adebayo was like, along the way this changed. And I'm just like,
you don't know where you're gonna end up. Like this was something that just came up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the reality of a lot of situations, right? It's just along the way some things change, but people force it to try to be the same and pull it. And like Adebayo says, like, I'm going to feel trapped. You're going to resent me. Always feel in danger and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're going to be in danger and all that kind of shit. So she does the right thing, which is like, I'm going to let you go. And that was such a well-written scene, well acted, all that kind of stuff. Because the moment I see her being like, oh, you're all chummy with the dogs, I'm like, oh no, are you going to try to get her back and be like, oh, I have the money now and all this kind of stuff? But no, she does what she needs, not what she wants. And it was such a great scene.
And then they have the whole Economos thing of him needing to distract the Lex team, basically, while Bordeaux does the Peacemaker protocol to figure out where he is.
Yep. So pathetic the way he does it too. It's like the fact that he's like, did you watch the game last night? He's like, there was no game last night. He just keeps going with it. I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
And then the other woman's like, you think he watches football? Well, if he's going to, he should have started last night. Good stuff.
I'm just like, why did you pick that topic? Why?
I think it's what I like, the commitment to him just not being that good.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's not a spy. He's very clearly like, I've never said I was. I like that he says you should be doing this to Harcourt.
Yes.
He's like, you could be doing this.
Yeah.
I like that even season 1, like, you think he's gonna have a moment, but then he's like, he messes it up anyway.
Yeah.
And this season is the same. Like, he's constantly just not good at spy stuff.
Yeah. And that's fine. He stays in his lane.
I just like the commitment of that, of like, he found it didn't stop him from trying to help his friend.
Yes, and that's what's important.
But he wants to help. Same way, like when he was pretending to not know how to hack into the door or whatever. Like, he's not good at pretending, but he is going to do it because he wants to help his friend.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Then we have they finally they find him at the motel. I love that Vigilante tases him.
Yeah.
Because they
Yes.
think like, hey, Chris, and he's like, I'm getting out of here. And so
Yeah.
Vigilante's like, got him. Yeah, I really like this, and I think it's a nice follow up to the wife conversation, because she's saying,
Mhm.
not in like, oh, it's just another scene for her to be really good at acting, but in the sense that her appeal to him, she's right. Like every time you actually are being yourself and listening to yourself,
Mhm.
you attract people. Like you created the 11th Street Kids. She doesn't say that, but I love that she's saying like, I believe in miracles because of you.
Mhm.
But when I'm around you, I feel loved. You're big, dumb, stupid, but I know
Mhm.
you love me, and I don't know if I could say that about anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
And that means more when you've just seen her break up with their wife, the one person that she was like, oh no, I'm gonna fix
Mhm.
this, I'm gonna fix this, and it's like, I like that it's not this romantic thing. She's just like, no, this is actual love here, and
Mhm.
I I think you shouldn't lose sight of that.
Yes.
We're too busy listening to a whole bunch of other noise, and we're not focused on what matters. And I do think that's the point of this season.
Mhm.
So yeah, I really liked that, and I did see some people like from Real Rejects being like, they shouldn't have done the wife thing. I just didn't care about it, and I was like, it's.
Oh, that would have been bad if they
I
didn't do
think you
it.
need to show these characters like uh getting to the point of this season.
Yes.
So to have Economos being like, I'm not good at this stuff,
Mhm.
and I know that about myself. You're not going to guilt me into feeling bad about that. I'm
Yes.
still going to help, but I'm just not good at it. You need to know
Mhm.
that. Like, I am being myself, and I'm not. So I'm going to get shit done,
Yep.
and it's just not going to be the way you want it to be. But I'm going to get
Mhm.
this shit done because I know myself, and I'm listening to what actually needs to happen.
Yep.
You need to have Adebayo, as I said, my big complaint of like, well, she seems really like not with it this season. You need to have her get back to being with it, and that's these insights she has here. So I don't
Mhm.
feel like it's manipulation. It's just her being like, I know what this situation is now, and
Yeah.
I'm going to acknowledge that.
Mhm.
Obviously, I feel like Harcourt has many times to come to that and like know who she is. Like when she said in episode 6, like, I'm a mess. I believe like that's
Mhm.
important that she
Yep.
says that, because she's not trying to push him away. She's just like, you need to actually understand where I'm at right now.
Yes.
Um, but then when she understands, like, I need to give him the full thing. So saying, yeah, man, obviously the boat meant everything to me.
Right.
um, I just, and for Vigilante, I think it came in the form of uh, Peacemaker just being like, he just wants a brother figure.
Yeah.
And then acknowledging that and having Vigilante be genuine when he says, I know he says it in a weird way, but having him genuine to say like, yeah, I want you around. I don't want to do cool shit if you're not around.
Yep.
I
It's
think that's important, that and that to counter what people said about it not being structured properly, that it can't just show up in that one scene at the end. You need
Mhm.
to see those things happening before that.
Yeah, you need to see a progression. You need to see all these bits of like people actually being vulnerable because like you said, the whole point of this thing is like we're better when we're ourselves and genuine and vulnerable and honest with each other, which is why like Adebayo is not manipulating. She's just from the heart this
Mm-hmm.
whole episode. Everyone's from the heart this whole episode. And
She
you
does
know, it's
manipulate Vigilante, but yes, other than that,
yeah.
she's for sure.
Yeah, yes, to get the
The
money and
whole,
all that kind of
like,
shit.
you
Yeah, yeah.
like, I just thought you were a better friend with him. I guess I'm the better friend. Like,
That was hilarious.
yeah,
That was actually hilarious. I'm like, oh yeah, work up the jealousy angle. That works out really, really good for you. But it is getting to the heart of it of like when you are genuinely yourself, it brings people together. There's a magnitude, there's a draw with that.
mm-hmm.
But when you're not, and you're doing hardcore things of being like, I'm going to put on this defensive wall, you push everyone away, right?
Agreed.
The moment she was actually honest about her feelings with uh Peacemaker and all that, yeah, it meant something to me and all this kind of stuff. She finally let her walls down. She, communicated her feelings, however difficult that was to her, and it drew everyone back together.
Yeah,
And so it's the point of this, this episode in particular is like, be yourself, and it pulls
Be
you
yourself,
closer
but
together.
also you need to be open to the connections that you have around you,
Yes.
that community. Um, the obvious thing here being like and I'm not saying he's lazy or just redoing things, but like that's
Mhm.
the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 thing of like Peter thinks he needs to be with Ego until he's like,
Yes.
well, I guess I already had the family. I think that's it too, right? Like you
Mhm.
actually listen to yourself, and what he wants, he is, or what he needs, he is getting from this group of people.
Yes.
He's just not listening to that at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I just feel like the well, I guess we'll just finish the episode, which is
Mhm.
the whole gang goes to a Foxy Shazam concert. They sing the theme song, or this season's theme song
Yeah.
anyway. Um, looks like everything's great. We see them unveil Checkmate, and Flurry's there, Judo Master's there, Bordeaux's there.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
As I said,
I like that. I
would have
I
been
I was so
interesting to
happy to
see a
see
bit
Flurry
more
there.
of a turn from, other than the whole "it's a good thing you did that,"
Uh-huh.
which I'm like, yeah, okay, so he isn't an asshole. Like he gets it.
Mhm.
Um, I just wanted more of that from Flurry, because this episode they really leaned into how funny he is, which is fine. But it was like, oh,
Yeah.
but you knew you needed him to turn at the end,
Yeah. And
and they didn't
I
really get.
agree. I think the whole like him freaking out to be like, what the fuck are we actually doing here and these doors and that we're so expendable while y'all are just partying up there. And I don't think that was an effective enough thing to be like
Yeah, because
Flurry
he's freaked
turned.
out a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess to my point, they're showing the cracks. It just feels like um there was a. I feel like there could have been a better way to thread that needle.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I think about it, I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm holding space for people who are like, no, I get what they were doing. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, he freaked out a couple of
Hmm.
times in the season. And especially for me, it's like, yeah, but it just didn't feel connected to him having an actual change of heart.
Yes, because to me, the idea of like, what the fuck are we doing here? I'm freaking out, but there's no figurative or a literal hand to be like, we will, we're gonna take you in, kind of deal.
Yeah, like
Like
they didn't
none of
like you
that.
before this. At
Exactly.
least Judo Master had this connection with Adebayo.
Yes.
Um, so you're like, yeah, they would call her in.
Yeah.
Like I don't like Economos got genuinely upset with Flurry.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he spat on him.
Yeah.
So like
That's assault.
that's like
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it's wild. So to me, I'm like, when I saw the whole team there, I'm like, everyone here makes sense except for Fleury. Not that I'm
Like
not
I want
happy
him
to see
there.
him there.
I want
I
him there,
want
but
him
it's like, oh
there.
come on.
But I'm just like, you could have given me something else to be like, okay, how does this actually make sense? I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So then after the concert, Peacemaker is taken and thrown into Salvation, and Rick Flag is basically the villain. I
Yep.
mean, he was the villain all
He's
episode,
always been
but
the
like,
villain, yeah.
but like, he's just full on. I think I thought they were trying to do like a body switch thing, because
Mm,
they pulled the whole general. Oh, I mean Nick, and he's like, "What do you?" Or Rick, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh,
sure.
he's not Rick Flag." That's they made a whole big deal of him being like, "No, you got to call me Rick. You got to." I
Yeah.
didn't get that.
Yeah.
This was another instance of me being like, I understand that he was a bad guy the whole time, but I
Hmm.
don't understand why he's acting so different now.
Yeah. And so I think the big thing is that he succeeded. He got the Pentagon people to be like, yeah, this is a good idea and all that kind of stuff. And but I like the fact that Economos was like, oh, so you're just doing Lex's plan, like
Yeah,
his
yeah,
original
you're
plan.
just
You're just doing Lex's plan and all this kind of stuff. And Economos kept going like, but we're working with Lex's people. We're doing their shit. And to that point of the white supremacy being allowed to exist, that's the whole thing. Is like, yeah, you were the scientists under Lex's rule and all that kind of stuff. You still believe in Lex's stuff, but we're going to use you anyways and all that because
I
we're going to
yeah.
draw the goal lines a little bit differently. And it was wild
I
because at
guess
some point
what
that
I'm saying
glasses
is
guy,
I guess what I'm saying is he's so not himself in this that
yeah,
that like even at the end we're like, and look, he did all of that just so he could put Peacemaker in there. I'm like, did he? Like, I mean, yes, on paper I see that, but the performance doesn't really convince me of that.
I agree.
I get how on paper he was like, yeah, I did all of this, and now I've got what I really want, which is to put it. But like, they went to such great lengths to show us that he wasn't being himself in the eyes of the people who were around him all the time, that I was just like, oh, so we're not doing that. There's like I think I can convince myself that it's like maybe he's just showing more of who he really is.
That's what I think, probably.
I can convince myself of that. I just don't think that's well executed.
Yeah, it's a radical shift.
I do think that I could be okay with them saying that's what was happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the second half of season 2.
Yeah.
A lot of high highs, I would say.
Yep. A lot of inconsistencies, but a lot of good highs, like you said.
And I appreciate that some inconsistencies came from, and I wouldn't even call them inconsistent. I would say some things that didn't quite work for me came from the ambition of what they were trying to explore.
Yes.
It's
hard to do that.
It wasn't just a typical, and I do feel like spiritually it does follow the same thing of in first season, the second last episode was killing the dad, and you're kind of like, oh, what are they going to do next? And then this season was, well, the dad dies again, and his brother doesn't die, but it's like, we're done with that. Now we got to just deal with the aftermath.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that it could have been as tight as season 1 felt.
Yeah.
And it didn't do that, but I really like season 1. So I don't, maybe there was never going to be that kind of like, oh my goodness, and maybe I was expecting a lot because of it being James Gunn and the second season of a show I really like.
Right. Yeah, especially because I think about this too, is the idea of like, especially where DC was and how James Gunn's contribution to DC was really starting to turn the page at that point in time, to be like, oh, okay, this is what we're going for. This is actually kind of interesting and all that kind of stuff. But the challenge is, because of where DC was, it made probably all this kind of stuff shine even more. I'm not saying that wasn't good. Season 1, to me, are like concretely better than this season. But like the idea of now that we're in Gunn's world, I think the lens that we look at this is a little bit more critical than it was in the past, where it's like, oh, this is way better than the original Suicide Squad and all this kind of stuff, right? So, it's tricky because objectively there are so many inconsistencies here, so many character choices that are just like, I feel like you wrote this just to serve up the whole pool thing and all this, and it's too convenient, and I wish there was more, but it is what it is. It's still, for all intents and purposes, something that I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, these are complex subject matter that is not easily explored through something like this. But at the end of the day, I'm just appreciative that these are topics that are being explored. So
yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's rate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a soft 8.
Okay. I'm at a 7.
Nice. I think that the ambition deserves more than
the execution
for 7, more than a 7, because I do feel like that means that you're trying something.
Yep.
And I always want to champion trying something.
Absolutely.
And so if the execution doesn't fall exactly where it needs to be, that's better that it happened because you were trying something than because you were being lazy.
I very much agree. I just give it a 7 just because I'm like, yeah, for all the reasons we obviously talked about, a lot of inconsistencies with the characters and all that kind of stuff, and still enjoyed it, a lot of highs, but at the same time, I can't push it into the 8 category for myself.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, everybody. You can go to tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten if you want to hear older episodes of our show. You can also go to any podcast platform you wish. Rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends, follow, do all of that good stuff. If you want to get in touch with us, spoiledpodcast@gmail.com is our email. We are at TDF Spoiled on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. And other than that, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.